King Abdullah II of Jordan faces international criticism over a new controversial law. Is this the end of the freedom of expression in Jordan? King Felipe VI of Spain visits Paraguay. And members of the Princely Family of Liechtenstein celebrate National Day in Vaduz. All this and much more coming up next on your Royal Daily News. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing well. My name is Alexandra, and this is your Royal Daily News for August 15th, 2023. In Vaduz, His Serene Highness Prince Hans Adam II of Liechtenstein, accompanied by His Serene Highness Hereditary Prince Alois and Her Royal Highness Hereditary Princess Sophie of Liechtenstein, His Serene Highness Prince Georg of Liechtenstein, Her Serene Highness Princess Maria Carolina of Liechtenstein, and His Serene Highness Prince Nicholas of Liechtenstein celebrated National Day on the grounds of Schloss Vaduz. In his speech, the hereditary prince spoke about the recent challenges the Principality has faced over the past year, including the labor shortage, political balance, the energy crisis, and the media, specifically the closing of the longtime newspaper Volksblatt. Quote, "Our media landscape is going through a difficult phase. After the discontinuation of the Volksblatt, we have a monopoly situation with the daily newspapers that are so important for the formation of opinion in our country. In addition, Radio Liechtenstein is in financial difficulties and must therefore be refinanced. Ensuring sufficient quality and diversity of the media has become a challenge in a digital age for such a small market as Liechtenstein." End quote. In the afternoon, locals and tourists enjoyed the traditional folk festival held in the city center of Vaduz. This year's host community is the municipality of Triesenberg, featuring dozens of local food and drink, as well as arts and crafts. There are also games and carousels and all kinds of fun activities for the little ones. Musical artists from the municipality of Triesenberg performed in the main square of the Peter Kaiser Platz. The purpose of host communities during National Day is to showcase the, quote, local traditions of the host area to visitors and Liechtensteiners in the Vaduz town, end quote. In the evening, there was a bonfire and a grand fireworks show, which usually takes place on the grounds at Schloss Vaduz. However, since the Schloss is undergoing renovation, the fireworks launch area was moved to a different location. His Majesty, King Felipe VI of Spain, arrived in Asuncion late yesterday afternoon to attend the inauguration of the President-elect of the Republic of Paraguay, Mr. Santiago Peña Palacios, on Tuesday. His Majesty the King was officially welcomed to the country by the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Paraguay, Mr. Julio Cesar Arriola. Thereafter, His Majesty the King arrived at Palacio de López, where he held a meeting with the outgoing President of the Republic of Paraguay, Mr. Mario Abdo. 2 hours later, His Majesty the King arrived at the home of President-elect Peña Palacios to participate in a meeting. The day ended with His Majesty the King attending an informal dinner hosted by President Abdo in honor of the dozens of heads of state attending the inauguration ceremony, which was today. They included the President of the Argentine Republic, the President of the Federative Republic of Brazil, the President of the Oriental Republic of Uruguay, and the President of the Republic of Chile. This morning, His Majesty the King attended the solemn presidential inauguration ceremony of Santiago Peña Palacios at Palacio de López. Prior to noon, His Majesty the King held an audience with the Spanish community residing in Paraguay. In the afternoon, His Majesty the King attended a luncheon hosted by the new President and First Lady, Leticia Ocampos. In Kuala Lumpur, His Majesty the King of Malaysia held an audience with the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Anwar bin Ibrahim, at the National Palace. During the meeting, discussions focused on His Majesty the King's weekly activities and, quote, government-related affairs and issues, end quote. In Tokyo, their Imperial Majesties, Emperor Naruhito and Empress Masako of Japan, attended a memorial ceremony on the occasion of the 78th anniversary of VJ Day, also known as Victory over Japan Day, even though the Japanese surrendered unconditionally to the Allies on August 14, 1945. On September 2, 1945, the signing of the official Instrument of Surrender took place aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. 9 representatives from the Allied nations were present to accept the Japanese surrender. According to the Japanese newspaper NHK, over 1,800 people attended today's ceremony, including bereaved families of the war dead. At noon, there was a moment of silence to honor all of the war dead. In his speech, the emperor said, quote, "Looking back on the long period of post-war peace, reflecting on our past and bearing in mind the feelings of deep remorse, I earnestly hope that the ravages of war will never again be repeated. Together with our people, I now pay my heartfelt tribute to all those who lost their lives in the war, both on the battlefields and elsewhere, and I pray for world peace and for the continuing developments of our country." End quote. On a lighter note, Their Majesties King Carl Gustaf and Queen Sylvia of Sweden are enjoying the last days of summer in the south of France. Yesterday, His Majesty the King was seen enjoying a swim in the warm Mediterranean Sea, while Her Majesty the Queen was applying lip gloss. Meanwhile, the Swedish Royal Court issued a statement on behalf of their Majesties regarding last week's deadly wildfires on the island of Maui. Quote, "The Queen and I wish to express our deepest condolences on the tragic loss of life caused by the devastating wildfires in Hawai'i. We also wish to offer our heartfelt sympathies to the families of the victims and to the people of Hawai'i." End quote. As I mentioned in Sunday's episode, if you'd like to help the people of West Maui and their sweet pets, in the description box below, I will leave direct links to the official websites for the American Red Cross Hawai'i, the Humane Society Maui, and the Hawai'i Community Foundation. Oh, and one more thing before I forget. I also mentioned in Sunday's episode that if you see a charity on social media claiming they are accepting donations to help those affected by the devastating wildfires, and if you're unsure if a charity is legitimate, well, in the state of Hawaii, in fact in all states, any charity asking for donations must be registered with the Department of the Attorney General for the state of Hawaii. So, if you want to check the status of a charity, I will leave a direct link to the Department of the Attorney General in the description box below. While the drama in Thailand is over, another drama just unfolded. In Amman, His Majesty King Abdullah II of Jordan held a meeting with the Board of Trustees of the National Center for Human Rights, NCHR, and the President of the Jordan Press Association at Al Husseiniya Palace. His Majesty the King is facing harsh criticism as well as concerns in Jordan and abroad when he signed the controversial Cybercrime Law 2023 on Saturday, August 12th. The CCL 2023 is an amendment to the 2015 Cybercrime Law. According to the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner, the CCL 2023, quote, unduly restricts and criminalizes online activities by individuals and organizations. It imposes penalties for publishing content that may offend law enforcement officials. This will potentially silence criticism and undermine public accountability. It also penalizes circumvention of IP addresses and allows the removal or the blocking of content by the authorities without appropriate judicial oversight. Among the broad and vaguely defined cyber offenses in the legislation are promoting, instigating, aiding, or inciting immorality, character assassination, inciting sedation or undermining national unity, and contempt for religions. These formulations target the content of online expression, are open to wide interpretation, and fail to comply with international human rights law requirements of legality, legitimate aim, necessity, and proportionality for restrictions on the right to freedom of expression. End quote. The organization Human Rights Watch noted that this draconian law, quote, jeopardizes rights online and offline, including free expression and the right to privacy, and contains vague provisions that could target marginalized groups, including the LGBTQIA+ community, end quote. Any individual who is found guilty of breaking the new cybercrime law could face a maximum of 3 years in prison and a maximum fine of $105,000. So, back to today's meeting. His Majesty the King reaffirmed Jordan's commitment to political and media pluralism, adding that the, quote, kingdom was never an oppressive country and never will be one, and its history is a testament to that, end quote. His Majesty the King also noted that combating cybercrimes should not be at the expense of Jordanians' rights to express their opinion and criticize public policies. He also said, quote, all are in agreement that countering offenses on social media platforms that violate laws and morals is a necessity. The implementation of the cybercrime law will be the decisive factor in evaluating it and revising some of its provisions, as in the case with other legislation, end quote. If you're interested in reading Jordan's new Cybercrime Law 2023, in the description box below, I will leave a direct link to Jordan Open Source Association, a nonprofit organization based in Amman. And there you have it. Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. I will be back tomorrow on Wednesday, August 16th, with all the latest world news. Until then, I wish you all a wonderful afternoon and a great day tomorrow. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss a thing. Okay, have a wonderful afternoon, everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.